Hello everyone. In this video I am going to show you how to create a ZFS file system with best practices. So the topic is create uh, create ZFS file system with best practices. So before creating file system, let's check the disk available on the system. So for that, lsblk and hit enter. So if you see here, SDA is already used, so we have a new system, a new disk, SDB, SDC, SDD and SDE. Okay, so I am going to create a ZFS file system now with the help of this SDB disk. So for that, uh, what are the steps? So first, format the disk with disk partitioning system structure. So that might be GPT or uh, DOS partitioning system, but in this video I am going to use GPT. So parted SDB mk mk label GPT print. Okay, so if you see here, the partition table is using GPT. Now quit from here. Okay, now our second step is to create a ZFS pool and then mount the ZFS pool. But before that, we need to install the ZFS package on the system. So for that, apt get install ZFS utils linux-y. So this is the command to install the ZFS package on this system. So it is going to take a few seconds. Okay, so ZFS is installed on the system. Yeah, now our next step, I am going to create a ZFS pool. So for that, the command is zpool create dash. Since I am going to use the best practices, so instead of simply creating the pool, I will be using the parameters options, and I will explain the options used to create this ZFS pool. So dash o a time is equal to off, a shift is equal to 12. So actually it should be a time is equal to off dash o can mount is equal to off lz4. So and the pool name, so now I'm going to assign the pool name, so I will put it data pool. Yeah, and now I have to provide here the disk to create the ZFS pool. Okay, so I can keep this SDB, but I'm not going to use the disk name because the disk name may change if the system reboots. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use different way. disk by path. So we have multiple options actually. So so we can use, instead of using name, we can use by id, by part id, by path, or by UUID, but in my case I am going to use the path. So for disk SDB, the name is PC, this is the name of the disk. If I create a pool using path, so it's 001. Okay, so go here, dev disk by path, and then the name was PCI 1. So PCI, this is 00, and then 10. So 0010 SCI, and the disk is 1. So okay, so 1 tab. Okay, so I'm going to create a pool. Zpool create, syntax -o, a shift is equal to 12, a time is off, can mount is off, compression is LZ4. This is the pool name, and this is the disk, and hit enter. Okay, so now to check if this pool is created or not, so zpool status, hit enter. So if you see here, the pool name data pool is created, state is online, so it's fine, and it is created using this disk, but this is actually SDB, but for the best practice I have used this one. It's by path. Okay, so now I am going to explain the parameter that I have used. So what happens is, a shift is 12, means 2 to the power 12 means 4 KB. So a shift 12 means, so it determines it defines like minimum size of the data that ZFS will read or write from the disk. So in our case, if I have used ZFS, a shift is equal to 12, means ZFS can read and write minimum size can be 2 to the power 12, that is 4 KB. Next option I have used is a time is equal to off. So it determines whether access time is recorded for files and directory or not. So if I do a time is equal to off, it will increase the performance, because ZFS will not record the access time of its files and folders. Next options I have used is can mount is equal to off. So what happens if I don't use this option, ZFS will create the pool and mount it automatically. So I want to mount it at my required location. So for now I have put the parameter can mount is equal to off. Next is compression is LZ4. So ZFS file system actually has inbuilt compression mechanism, and in so I have used the algorithm LZ4 compression in our case. Okay, now our next step is to mount the ZFS file system. So what I am going to do is zpool status. So this is the pool name. So what I am going to do is ZFS create -o mount point is equal to, and then I am going to give here the path where I am going to mount. So let's create the path first. So mkdir, so log. So actually I am going to mount the pool at this location. So first let's create the path and hit enter. Okay, so we have now this path. So what I am going to do is ZFS create -o mount point. So what is our mount point? This is our mount point. So ZFS data logs, and the pool name. So in our case the pool name is data pool, so data pool, and then the data set. So you can create multiple data set using ZFS, but I am going to create now one. So primary, primary, hit enter. So ZFS is mounted now at this location. So let's verify that. So tf dash h t. So t will give the file type. So if you see here, the this pool was created and this is the data set. And what is the file system? So this is the file system ZFS, and its size is 4.4 GB, actually 5 GB, around 5 GB was the size of the SDB, and it is mounted at this location. So this is the way to create the ZFS file system. Now so let's check the disk status. So if you see here, I didn't created the partition, but SDA1 and SDB1 and SDB9 is created. So actually if you don't create the partition and create the file system using the whole disk, ZFS will automatically create these two partition, SDB and SDB9. So actually the SDB1 is 5 GB, so the logs will be stored here, and SDB9 SDB1 logs will be stored, and SDB9 is very small space. Now our second question is, so suppose I have created one pool using SDB. Now I need to extend this pool with this disk SDC. So how we can extend that? So for that, first format the disk. So SDC. So if you see here, partition table is unknown, so I will make it LGBT. Print free. Now it's GPT. Quit from here, check lsblk. So there is no partition, but if I add this disk to the pool, there will be automatic partition created. So again zpool status to check the pool and the disk connected. So even there is another command, ZFS list, and this will list the pool. So this is our main pool, and it is dataset, its available size, mount point, and everything. So now I'm going to add SDC to the data pool. Okay, so SDC, again I am not going to use disk name to create the pool. I am going to use path. So for SDC disk, the path is this one to uniquely identify this disk. So for that, command is zpool add and the pool name, so data pool, and the disk. So dev disk path, and the PCI name is 0000, this one, and then 10 and then 2. So 0 10 and it's 2, and hit enter. Now check. So if you see here, so again on STC as well, the STC1 and STC9 two partition is created. Okay, now check if the disk is added to the system or not. So zpool status. So previously there was only one disk, this disk. Now STC whose path ID is this one, path is this one. So both are added to data pool. Now check if the space is increased or not. So for that, st, and if you see here, it was around 4.4 GB earlier, but now it's 8.8 GB. Okay. uh, so we have created pool, we have added the disk to the pool, existing pool. Now so in this case, if a single disk fail, so the data will be lost. So next I am going to create a pool, but I will be using mirror. So I will be using std and sde, so that if std fail, this disk fail, there will be no data loss. But with mirror, the size will not be the size of std plus sde, it will be the half of the size of this two sum of the two disks. So if it is 2 GB, 2 GB, 4 GB, so if I do the mirror with this two disks, the final size will be around 2 GB. So first I am going to format this sdd and std. So parted slash dev std mklabel gpt quit ste gpt. So actually I had already formatted this disk ste, so it's showing us this warning, but type s and hit enter. Okay, so it's gpt quit. So I have formatted the std and sde. Now I am going to create a pool, a mirror pool, using std and sdd. So I will be using the previous command to create the pool. So the syntax is so the syntax is same, basically zpool. I will create a new pool with mirror pool, so I will name it as data pool 1. And then since I am creating the mirror, so I need to put here the parameter mirror, and I have to now define the two disk here. So sdd, so for sdd the path name is 1003, so it should be 3 yeah. And the new disk, dev disk by path pci 0 and its name is actually 4, so 4, and hit enter. Okay, now again do zpool status. So okay, so data pool 1, and it is type mirror, and there are two disks used, so std and sde, whose path is this one. Okay, now I am going to mount this new data pool 1 at new location. So syntax, let me create one folder. So ZFS data logs 1 I will be mounting here, and hit enter. Now I am going to mount it, so I will be using similar syntax. So since I am going to mount it as this one, our data pool name is data pool 1, and again I am going to create dataset, so I will make it as again primary, and hit enter. So now it's mounted. So ht, so if you see here, data pool 1 is mounted, but it should be around 4 GB, but it's nearly 2 GB only, because we have created the mirror pool and it's mounted it here. So ZFS list, if you see here, it has around this one space, mounted it here. Okay, so this is all about today video. In the next video we will meet again. Thank you.